What's going on, guys? Welcome to TK's Garage 405. Today we're getting my car ready for duct tape drags. Hopefully we can get it all together here. I signed up yesterday and this is what the car still looks like, which is not very good. So we're gonna try to see what we can get together here today. It's a nice cool day to work in the garage here, so let's get to it. Welcome to TK's Garage 405. Check out the new hoopty. All right, got my son here helping out today. He's actually off on a Saturday for once, which is very unusual. But here's kind of where we're at here. We got this quick performance 9-inch that was probably sitting in the bottom of the ocean, needs bearings. I got the center section, all that kind of stuff for it. We do have a turbo kit here, but we're not gonna have time to get that all together. It's just, it would be too much new stuff going on. I'm not familiar with these LS swaps, but I think it's pretty straightforward. Honestly, a lot of it was just waiting for parts. So I did get headers. I'm gonna have to figure out some sort of exhaust. It does have exhaust on the car, but didn't really get that far yet. So we'll see how everything fits. I'm hoping these eBay Chinese $130 headers actually clear everything here. It's kind of 50-50 on that. So we put the new center link in the last episode you guys saw there. So kind of give you a rundown of this car if you guys haven't been watching my channel. So I actually bought this car back in like, 2000. So had for like 24 years. It's just a plain Jane sport coupe car. It was originally a 2.8 V6 in this thing, fuel injected. And yeah, I had it until about 2018, and then I sold it for a few years there. The guy just parked it in the grass, and it had never, while I owned it, ever sat outside. But yeah, he parked it out in the grass. It got mice in it. The interior stinks. It's kind of nasty. And then, yeah, I just kind of got fed up with the combo that was in it there. So we pulled that out, and this is what we got going on here. So this is a LY6. It's, I believe it's out of a 2008 van. It's like a stock bottom end. It's got the 823 heads on it. Turbo 350 behind it. We're changing this one out because the case is kind of cracked. I broke one of the ears putting it in. Plus it's missing a bolt. And if you guys look close here, it looks like it's been like put together with some sort of like soldering stuff here. So we're gonna probably put the accessories on it. I think we haven't decided yet. But yeah, got the bulk of I think what we need to get going here. So we're gonna take the transmission off. I bought a used transmission off of Marketplace, so we'll see how that works out here, I guess. Well, it was a business, so hopefully he was honest about it because I paid hardly anything for it. So it's supposed to be billet internals. And then we got the scatter shield and a 4000 converter for it. So it's got, I counted the gears the other day. It's got 430 gears in that 9-inch. So once we put the bearings in that, we'll get that installed too. But that'll probably be next week here. So hopefully we can get it in today. Maybe even possibility of maybe seeing it fire up. We'll see how it goes here. Hey guys, thanks for watching again. Make sure you like, subscribe, share me around on social media. TK's Garage 405 on Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook. So we're gonna get working here. The plan today is at least have the engine and everything in there. I've got a lot of parts for it. It's like, so gonna run this thing carbureted. So it's got the MSD 6014. It's actually 60143 because I got the black version. And that's pretty much all you need to run these things as long as everything's okay. So when I bought this thing, it was another Marketplace special. It's pretty much where I buy everything involved in my life. So this thing has like a, it's basically a cam only 6-liter. So it's like a comp 469 cam, which is pretty big. Nobody seems to be able to answer if that's gonna be able to still run power brakes. So I hope that's not an issue. Yeah, but it's got the rec port heads, which is like the good flowing heads. So should make decent power. They're supposed to, according to Richard Holdner's test there, it's supposed to make 550. So we'll kind of see how it goes here, but I'd be happy with anywhere close to that, because the fastest this car's ever run is 13.0. Every time it started getting faster, something would break like halfway through the run or fall apart or whatever. So the rockers were off of this one. Like it was like kind of like a couple of them were like had fallen off, almost like he had ran it and thought the engine was bad or something, almost it seemed like. So we went through it, opened it up, checked it over. Everything seemed okay. It flushed out the tank and everything, or sorry, the oil pan, because it was just pretty sludged up. So we're gonna see if we can just quickly tear this thing down. Put the new, we said we're gonna take the converter off. We're gonna put the hoses onto the other transmission there, a couple things like that, and then we'll see. I'm sure there's things I'm missing because I just don't know enough about these swaps or whatever, so we're probably going to be missing some bolts and fittings and whatever, but I do need a couple of gauges yet, I think, to run it too, an oil pressure gauge, which we can probably get in town there, but yeah, other than that, we should be good to go. All right, guys, so we'll start seeing if we can get the converter off this thing. I'm going to size it up to the other one because the other one's a 4,000 converter and this one's supposed to be a 36, and this one felt pretty loose on the street, so kind of see. It's honestly, it's a pain to work on the stand like this, but
gonna hold the drink.
Yep.
Oh. You can do it with your hands.
Yeah, maybe. perhaps. I need a
very enthusiastic.
Yeah. You want me to turn it?
Okay, go ahead and turn it.
How did that work again? It had to be
where the starter was. I'll tell you when to stop.
So if you ever keep going,
keep going.
Right. So when you're going to put the torque converter bolts in,
go a little back. All right.
When you're trying to put the torque converter bolts in these LSs, you have to take the starter off to be able to get them in. So just food for thought there. I didn't know that until he taught me.
Go ahead. I'll loosen all of them before I take them off all the way. A little bit more. Right there.
I was telling him I was looking on Marketplace the other day, and somebody was selling a set of valve covers that have the coils built right into the valve cover, so they're probably like maybe like 4 inches tall or something, but it gives it like a super clean look. It was in like, I don't remember, North Carolina or something like that, so I wasn't close enough to just go grab them, but I'm always leery about buying things where people are going to ship it to, so this engine's still kind of grimy, so it fits in with the car.
Need you to turn it again. Ow. You're supposed to stop.
You didn't say stop.
Go back up a bit.
Which way?
This clockwise. I don't know.
Oh.
Up. Oh, down. Down. Yeah, that way. Stop.
Oh, man. This is much easier in an engine stand, but his engine's on engine stand, and it would be a whole ordeal to take it apart, so we're just going to do it here. All the accessories I just got off the other engine that I have, like I got a spare engine now, so the L96, and I'm going to use the truck accessory drive. There's kind of mixed reactions on whether or not the accessory drive will fit in these cars with the hood closed, the alternator, apparently, but some guy was selling them, and he said that they do, so, and he had pictures. Keep going?
Yeah.
Oop. So we'll have to figure out some things like making sure the radiator's good enough for this thing. And the electric fan is pretty bad. It's still the factory electric fan. So
okay, spin it. Open more.
Okay.
Right there. Ooh, got him.
You got it. Nope.
Yeah, I got it.
All right. Okay. Okay, so I'm pretty sure I'm going to put the 4,000 converter in this thing. So, like I said, planning on taking this thing to duct tape drags here. So, I want it to go as fast as possible. It's going to have like kind of a strange combo here. She's going to be screaming at the top end, but it's got a, should be able to rev it out to 7,000 pretty easily. So, should probably be. I think Tulsa's a 1/4 mile track there, so she'll be wound up pretty good there, assuming it actually runs.
You say Tulsa?
Yeah. Tulsa?
Tucson?
Tucson. Sorry, Tucson. Okay, is that it?
Mm.
Okay, so.
Take these lines off the transmission.
Yeah, I guess so, hey. Might as well just put them back on while it's out. It's a lot easier. Okay, so we're gonna take the transmission lines off of this one, and then we'll get this thing all bolted back together here. Okay, a lot of people have this trouble with transmissions, and you just
gotta keep going.
push it in and spin it. Yeah, keep going clockwise. Yep, just keep spinning it. You'll always hear it click as you're pushing it there. And you can kind of feel it. People that have done this lots, you can kind of tell, but this is like a common mistake where people put it in and then it's not all the way seated and ends up trashing the transmission before you even get going.
Oh,
Didn't sound like it went, eh?
no.
This is what we're kind of talking about. Sometimes it'll try to spin the shaft with the actual converter.
You can see because.
Yeah. Okay, we'll get this in and then we'll come back to this. Okay, so I was trying to skip through the boring stuff here. So this converter I got is a 4000 converter. Well, I don't know if you guys can see our pickle here, but the converter does not line up with the bolt holes. Like, there's the bolt hole. If you can see, it's not even remotely close. So we're gonna have to pull this thing back apart again and put the other converter on it that we know works. So it sucks because this one's a 4000, that's only 36, but I guess it'll be a little more street friendly that way. So pull it back apart again and whatever. This is the third time now. Okay, so this is the converter that I had in the car before. It's going back in, but if you notice here, so this is a mistake we just didn't catch. So this one has two sets of bolts. You can actually run two sets of bolts if you want. For like having 6 bolts, but they're threaded. So we look really close there. Okay, the converter that we pulled out of here is like a bolt-on style. So I don't even know how that would work, to be honest. It's like you'd have to have like a bolt with a nut basically. So you could probably drill the flex plate. I don't know enough about converters. And if you look, see how it's not to the outside and the other ones are? Well, that's why it's not fitting. So we're gonna try this again. This one went in a lot easier than the other converter also, so, and we know it works because it came out of the driving transmission, so hopefully that's the end of it.
Come on.
Okay, so we just had to take the transmission back off here, put the different converter back on it, so that's the original one I had. It's only 3600, so that's kind of, I was excited to see what a 4000 with 430 gears would be like, but that's okay. So we're going to try to lift it up now. We just readjusted the chain here. And then we're gonna try to put the torque converter bolts in. So the mistake I made last time there, where you guys could kind of see, I didn't realize that you were able to shim these converters, and so it had a bunch of play in it, and I just bolted it up, and I was like, I didn't really feel good about it. And then after I researched, I'm like, oh, apparently it's okay to put shims in it. So probably put one shim on each bolt, I'm thinking, is probably about the space that we got here. So we'll kind of see what it looks like when we get it up here, but I think that's probably going to do it. So we'll see what that looks like. Okay, so you can see I'm just going to take regular washer and put it in between basically the converter and the flex plate to take up that space. One's about good here, it looks like, so I'll get that. Do you want to turn that engine a little bit more? And I've got like aftermarket bolts here, so they're like a fine thread bolt for this. They're not ARP bolts, but they're like whatever, grade 12, a little bit more, a little more. Yep, I think that's close to saying.
Do you want any thread lock on it?
No, I don't think so. A little bit more maybe. It's like, so. Okay, so apparently there's 2 sets of holes on this flex plate as well. So, whoa, I think you went past it. It's okay, just keep going. So, I was wondering, it was like just barely not quite fitting. Oh, you went past it again.
Dude.
Watch your strength, sir. Keep going. Oh, pretty close, a little bit. There. Let's try this again. Probably back to the same hole I started on. There we go. So one of these sets of bolt holes is actually bigger, like it's actually bigger in the flex plate. So I don't know why I ended up buying that converter, or the flex plate that's supposed to allow you to use a regular turbo 350, but I think maybe because this converter's an aftermarket one, it wouldn't work. So a factory one, it might work, but I bought I bought the one that's supposed to have the dish and everything for it, and in the end I ended up using the one that's behind the factory 4L60. So I'll get these bolts all started first and then we'll snug them up. Okay, so someone here was cleaning out the lines. We put the transmission lines back on. I wish I would have had the camera on because he was spraying it and he decided he needed to drop it back into the dirt while he was cleaning it. So anyways, we got them back in. These are just hydraulic lines that we like, basically I threw on the car. It doesn't have a swivel on this end, it does on the radiator side. Really, it needs a transmission cooler probably, but it's what we got and we're just getting it right, not getting it. Sorry, wait. Getting it running, not getting it right. So we're gonna, I think we're just about ready to drop this thing in the car. Okay, we're just kind of getting things cleaned up here a little bit. We're gonna try to put this thing in now, I guess, and hopefully this is the last time. Yeah, it's an unknown transmission, so I really hope it works because then I'll have to pull it out again because I know the other one worked, but it was kind of cracked and I was worried about it breaking and cutting my feet off and all that stuff, so.
Oh, do we need to put the wrong thing?
I would prefer to not. Also, it's hard to maneuver this thing around because the guys at O'Reilly's put it together and it doesn't have the tires in the right spot, so. It's like extremely hard to turn around. He keeps moving his truck fender around because
I just painted it.
freshly painted and sitting here about to get dented. Unless that was just all from the front.
Can it make it pass down the quarter strip? That's all that
Yeah, as long as it doesn't flood the track or something. Well, hold on, so we actually drive it a little bit here. Seems like it should be easy, but it's not. Oh, something, yeah.
You just eat something?
I just touched something in it, like, it's like poison in my mouth.
You eat air?
I don't know. Alright.
Okay.
Yeah. Ooh, whatever that was some
Tasted
poison.
good?
If you guys have like the same vehicles over and over again, it makes it a lot easier to like know how everything kind of goes together. Oh, you okay?
Of my arm.
Was it?
I hit it on the shock.
Oh. Pretty much everything else on this car is like still factory. It still has the 10 bolt in it, has a mini spool in it now, but has all the stock brake lines and fuel lines and
Push it in some more.
everything. Just gonna drop a little bit. All these should be in here pretty soon.
That's the idea.
So what we're trying to do here is we're trying to jack it up just to get it so that the engine's going in flat, because you can't get the engine to drop on the mounts when it's crooked, right? So, and then you'll have a hard time getting the bolts in your end. So it's just easier to do this. It'll be interesting to see if it all sits in the same spot, because to me it's still got like a ton of space behind the engine, which it would be nice to go farther back, but
How about that?
probably can go a little bit more yet, I think. So just make sure the jack is like facing this way.
Yeah, it's not.
Oh. Let me see if we'll go. It might. Usually it's just. Yeah, because it's not on the wheels. What's that? Getting covered in oil yet?
What?
Getting covered in oil yet?
No, I'm on a creeper.
No, that's smart.
Kind of sucks though. Too fat. Time to man up.
Yeah, when you, I don't know about this vice grip garage burnout pit or whatever, but you get that, you pay like 30 bucks extra for that. So I think it's like 125 to race, another 55 for a crew person, like pit crew, and then another 30 bucks for 30 bucks for the burnout pit, I guess. So it'd be super fun. A friend of mine was like, I'm gonna tell everybody to come from Canada, so we'll see if he actually comes or not. But he started bugging me more, and then I was like, I've been wanting to go for a while actually, so figured this would be a good promotion for my YouTube channel here. hopefully I can get this thing running and actually make some decent passes with it finally. This thing's had the 13-second curse forever, so this engine, I don't know what Tulsa's elevation is, but this engine should have a lot, or yeah, Tucson, I don't know, Tucson.
Okay. I can get out. Oh.
All right.
Am I dirty?
Probably no parts. No? Nice. Our neighbor's got a, what is it, like a, is it a Z06?
No.
I don't think so.
It's just a spot soap.
Did you have like mouse poo in your hair or something? Or some stuff off the floor or something? Oh my gosh, you guys are covered in it. Don't shake it off of my engine. How'd you get that?
I don't know, it's laying on the ground.
Okay. I'm gonna slowly let it down. Let's just try to push it into place there.
It's hanging up on the door now. Oh, there it is.
Okay, I'll show you guys what we're dealing with, which has been the problem all along here. Looks like I have just enough clearance now, but we just realized it doesn't have a, there's no mount on the transmission. So once the transmission is set, we'll know exactly where this is going to sit in relation, because it looks like it has to go maybe down a hair. And it looks like this has just like, I mean, like a smidgen of hair, which I could live with that, but yeah, I'm not sure what we're gonna do with that. Okay, what had happened was perhaps we forgot to put the transmission mount on it and the starter. So plus it's hitting the link here, so we're gonna pull it back out. This is probably like the 19th time I've had this thing out of here, and that was just with this engine. So pull it back out here again and see. I don't know what the heck, man. It's annoying. It's easier to just pull it out and try to put the mount and everything on it though, instead of trying to crawl underneath the car and fight with it. And then we can put the starter on too. Okay, so we've made an executive decision here that we don't want to pull this engine out ever again in the entire life of this car. So we're going to grind the center link because it touches just a tiny bit. I think it's going to be clear once we put the transmission where it's supposed to be, but it's going to be so tight I'm worried about it just like bumping a little bit. And it only is like right dead center, like when you turn it, because of course it starts to drop the angle, so then it's got tons of space when you turn it end to end, but it's just like probably like 4 inches in the middle. So I'm just going to just take a little bit out of here. Don't ever do this. This is not the way to do things, but this is the way we're going to do things, because, you know, don't get it right, just get it running. Thanks, David. Okay, I'm going to start grinding this thing. Found another problem. It looks like the bolt where the transmission mount goes is possibly stripped a little bit. Like, oh, only 3/4 of the thread. So we're going to probably see if we can put a longer bolt in there and hopefully it tightens up. But that's the kind of stuff you get when you buy off honest marketplace sellers. So we'll try to grind this down here, I guess, right in the middle. And then hopefully that will be good enough. So I should have gloves on because I grinded my finger open one time and it's got like nerve damage after that, but you know, I'm not that smart. Ooh, I burned the old fingers. Okay, just take a little bit off. I don't want to go crazy. This center link is actually twice as thick as the other one that was on here anyways, so it's obviously beefier anyways, and I don't want to go crazy, but like I said, I think it's probably going to just barely clear, but I think when you're like bouncing up and down the road and the mounts are kind of, you know, giving a little bit and everything, and the car's flexing, that it might touch, and I just don't want it to have issues, so probably take a little bit more off of it here. Like I said, it's just the center, so try some more of this and then should be good to go. Nothing like grinding right by transmission fluid here. That's fine. We got our fire extinguisher handy here, just in case.
No.
No? I thought we
Transmission
did.
fluid isn't that flammable.
It's not?
I don't think so.
Yeah, it is. We have a small one. One left.
One fire extinguisher left?
Yeah, I think so. Because my son started his gas tank on fire outside and then burnt himself while he was doing whatever. What?
Pretty much what you're doing.
Yeah.
I was cutting the straps off the tank.
Oh yeah. Well, there was gas in the tank, and apparently, gas starts on fire.
It's very flammable.
FYI, guys. Alright, so what we're running into here is my son was trying to put the mount on, and that's probably why I didn't have a mount, because the holes are kind of stripped out. So he's going to town anyway, so he's going to pick up a helicoil set. Guess we'll try to drill this out, tap it, and then hopefully we can get back to it here, because this is getting kind of ridiculous. Okay, figured since I was waiting for him to bring me back the helicoil stuff here, I'm gonna give this thing a $5 makeover here. So it's never been painted or anything here, so I just touched up that bar there where I was hitting it. And I didn't take that much off of it. I just wanted a little bit there to make sure that it cleared, and it had like a little buffer room. So give this a little bit of a shot here. Like I said, when you have a car you don't care about, after watching Pull Bar and Garage, dude, he does just everything. I'm up in the retail value here right now. I want to go too carried away though, because it's got to be worth less than $5,000 to race at the duct tape drag. So I gotta be conservative with the paint here. This isn't even, oh, this is the good paint. Oh, maybe cutting the budget here. Be like, I actually washed it really good, so this is a good time to do it. Probably should have done it right after I washed it, not months later. Oops, hitting the side here. Just give that a little wipe off there. No big deal. No big deal. So this car needs to be taken apart and painted under the hood really well and all that kind of stuff, but it's just not really that quality of a car, so it doesn't really matter to me all that much. The more I kind of get into it here, the more I'm just satisfied with making it more into like more race, with maybe just the ability to cruise a little bit. But for the most part, I think it's just going to be probably more of a take it to the track type car now. Like I said, which I'm fine with. That's all I really ever bought it for in the first place. So, touch that up a little bit. I'm trying to stay out from underneath this transmission so I don't get falling on me with the engine and putting me into a coma. I really would like to paint the underhood here, but I'm not going to do that. Cool. That's better. Mucho grande. All right, so see what we can do next here. Okay, back to the stupidity that is my life. So you went to get a helicoil, and then we realized these look like they're already threaded for bigger ones. So I tried to put them in, and one side tightened up. I think it's cross-threaded, and I'm pretty sure this side it tightened up a little bit, but then it like kind of felt like when it got to the end there wasn't much threads there. So we'll see how that goes. I'm not sure if that's going to stay together. If this transmission doesn't work or something stupid like that, I'm just gonna go end up buying a brand new transmission, because I'm not screwing around with this anymore. So I don't want to put the old one back in, and I don't trust that one. So I guess we will see. So we're gonna put the starter on now. Been screwing around for hours here. He was running around picking up parts or whatever. I put the coils on, and then I went to pick up the spare engine with the skid steer, and it like the controls are super jumpy, and I dropped it. I didn't drop it, it just the engine fell on its side, and so I broke a couple of coils, but I do have spares, so I'll just change those out. But the Like, yes, sir, I broke it on this one. It's got this flexible dipstick tube and there's just like 2 O-rings on it. It doesn't feel super tight, but I guess it doesn't really need to be. So we put the hoses back on, and then I guess whatever, we're gonna throw it back in here, and hopefully now we ground down this stupid center link a little bit, and now this will be dropped a little bit, so it should have clearance. Hopefully this is the last time I have to pull this stupid thing out of here. It's like the never-ending game of like trying to get this stupid thing in there with all this stuff that we keep missing. We missed the linkage on the last time we installed it. I'm rusty at this apparently, because usually I could do this so fast, but this is also like a completely new build, completely different than, it's not just pulling the same engine out, putting it back in kind of thing. I used to be able to do that in like 8 hours or less. So that's where we're at here. I guess we'll put the starter on, and then we should be able to get it dropped back in and put the transmission mount in, hopefully. All right, after more stupidity here, we're hopefully going to unbox some greatness here. So I don't know how great things from eBay that say made in China actually are, but we're about to find out. So I bought these headers on sale. I'm pretty sure I paid like $135 or something. That's actually why I bought them. I was like, I don't even know. I never go on eBay like ever. And I went on there for some particular reason or another. I think because it came up in my email or something like that, that I was like, my account was like not going to be active or something. And then I was like, huh. No, I went looking for a Y pipe actually. That's what happened. For a long tube header Y pipe to see how much that would cost. And then these showed up and I was like, huh. And they're usually like, right now I think they're over about $225, which is still fairly cheap for a set of like, what, stainless steel long tube headers. But they were like, I'm pretty sure they were like $135 by day. I was like, well, there's
bung for no two
not
sensor?
much, yeah, not much to lose for that. And I was really never planning on using. I was because I was planning on putting the turbo kit on it, but I'll never get it together fast enough for duct tape drags if I don't just get at it. So actually, not bad. It's a little bit thin-walled here. It's like kind of hard to see there, but
we're gonna run open headers, I guess.
Yeah.
Because we don't know how to do exhaust.
But the flange is actually, if you look at that flange, the flange is actually pretty beefy, and that's usually most of the problem, that it'll warp the flange or whatever. So, I mean, for 130, it's like 130 or $135, whatever it was, like super cheap. They have an O2 bung on them, so that's good because I want to run one. Yeah, it sucks that they don't have collectors. That's the only downside. So, but they're, like I said, they're pretty thin walled, but I think they're good enough. The welds are actually decent on them too. Hey?
It's gonna be really loud.
It's actually, yeah, probably because they're so hollow. Like there's thin hay.
They're really thin, huh?
All right, so we're gonna.
Do you have?
We just about forgot. So we're gonna have to set these in with the engine, because otherwise you can't get the engine in with, like, you can't get the headers in afterwards. So we would have had to pull it back out again. So we're gonna try drop it. Well, might as well just bolt them on. Actually, we're probably not gonna bolt them.
Do you have gaskets?
I do. They came with the gaskets here, so that's good. Yeah.
Do you have? How are we gonna do the O2 sensors?
Well, it came with a plug here, so yeah, we'll just plug it for now. So they come with like a bolt here to just plug it or whatever. So I'll probably, I don't know, what can I put on it so it doesn't like just seize up in there.
Anti-seize?
I don't have that, so we'll
I think we do.
Do?
Yeah, I had some for my spark plugs.
So I just don't want this to seize up. I should have it out pretty soon again to put the O2 sensor in it, but it would have been better if I would have had one already. I was going to order one day actually from eBay. There's another thing, but not sure how these will last. But this is some beefy headers, and this is part of the reason why these LSs make so much power too. They look at the size of these things. It's definitely at least 1 7/8. It's at least 1 7/8 of a size there, so that's a pretty fair deal. And like you can see, I don't know if you guys can see that or not, but they're welded pretty decent to the inside here, so looks like they're, I don't know, not terrible anyways. We'll see, I guess. But like I said, they got a nice thick flange, because if they're a thin flange one, that's when they'll always warp and leak or whatever. But so yeah, they come with the gaskets and the O2 sensor bung plug there, and pull this one out. And they're supposed to fit the 82 to 92 F body. So I'll give you guys a review on these things if they actually fit like they're supposed to. If they don't, I'm not exactly sure what I'm going to do because I don't have a plan B for this. So we'll go over these and then we'll get back in. Okay, so here's where we're at here. We ended up actually remembering to put the headers in with it this time. So we would have had a lot of fails the last time trying to get everything. We would have bolted it all up and then realized that we couldn't put the headers in and all that stuff. I totally forgot about that, to be honest. Like I said, behind the curve here, I haven't had this car apart and together in quite a while. So once we get the transmission mount there, so I've got a UMI one. I've got the factory one too, but I'm gonna put the UMI one on here, hopefully, and everything hopefully lines up. I don't know exactly where all these mount holes and everything go, so we'll see. It looks like they're the same, so I think it won't be a problem. I never noticed this before, but when you guys are looking at these, if you look at them, one side is like tilted further than the other. Like the passenger side has a big tilt, and this side's more flat. I never noticed that until we looked at the factory one, so we're gonna put that on. And then if this works, we should be able to run the factory torque arm for now anyways. Okay, so here's where we're at. He's putting the transmission mount. Hopefully it all fits here. We had to jack up the back so we could actually get underneath it. We're going to put that on, and I mean technically the drive shaft should be the same length, so I could drive it with the 10 bolt as long as the torque arm fits. With this weird mount, I forget what it is, UMI mount I think or whatever. I was assuming the transmission actually works and all that stuff. Then we'll have to bolt up the headers. We don't have header bolts. I guess those Chinese ones didn't come with header bolts, so understandable for that price. So we need some of those, and I think just put the accessory drive on. I got some spare parts from the other engine there. Yeah, I don't know. Shouldn't be anything too crazy here. Then we start putting on the top end. We do have to run fuel lines. I'm actually kind of glad we waited to run fuel lines because it's kind of nice just to know exactly where everything's gonna sit. But somehow these headers actually fit. I don't know how they fit, but I thought that side would fit, but I thought this side would not fit. And it actually, when you pull them up into place, they seem to fit good. So if you are doing these engine swaps, you have to drop it in as you're setting the engine because you'll never get them in otherwise, especially on this side. Sometimes you can tip up the engine on the passenger side and kind of drop them in from the top, weird angle, or sometimes put them in from the bottom, but it's definitely easier to just set them as you're setting the engine. So the kind of looks like our cross member may still be rubbing. I didn't take very much off of it because it's, it's kind of important there, but once we get the transmission lowered into place there, I think it's going to have just a little bit of clearance. So, and then, yeah, it should be good. Okay, so somebody on the internet is telling me that you can run the factory accessories from a truck and it'll clear the hood, which, I mean, I'm no expert here, but I don't feel like that's going to work. We're going to put it on anyways to see, but not sure how that's going to work. I think on the F-body ones, the alternator's down there, if I remember right. I'm going to have to look back through those pictures that the guy was saying that, because that's way too tall. All right, guys, so we made some decent progress here. I'll kind of show you what we kind of finished up here and what we need to do yet. Okay, so this could possibly be an issue. Somebody said that this alternator will fit under the hood, and it sure doesn't look like it. Looks like I don't know, this bracket looks different. Maybe because this is out of a truck, and they said it fits out of a truck unless it was an earlier generation of truck, but it's pretty tall, and I don't think that's gonna fit. So I don't have a solution for that yet. I do have one other bracket I might be able to try. I think out of the other, like when I bought this engine together, it had accessories with it. I don't remember if I had that or not. But anyway, so I got to change a couple coils that I broke when I was tipping over the parts engine there. You can see the headers actually fit pretty decent. I need, I can't believe it actually. These are just, like I said, $130 or $135 eBay headers. Got a Obviously the whole front accessories, that's all pretty straightforward stuff. I need to run fuel lines for it, fuel tank, and then figure out the 9-inch. Like, I mean, I could run it with this 10 bolt, but I'm pretty sure it's gonna break the first time I hit the gas with this thing. So that's gonna be probably an issue. So I might deliver that over to a mechanic to get some new bearings installed and maybe even assemble it for me, because I've never worked on 9-inch rears. So that's where we're at. So yeah, we made decent progress actually here. I said, I mean, it'll be easy to just get the carb. I'm probably gonna need a fan. I do have the whole fuel system intake. Sorry, the carb. I have the carb that was on it before, and I have another 750 as well, which wouldn't make as much power. And what else do I got here for it? Quite a few little parts anyway. So I've got pretty much everything I need. It's just gotta be, I need to order a tack for it yet. And then there's probably things I'm forgetting. So some of the stuff you could see here, like the window seal here, we pulled these window seals out because I was going to paint the car in Iowa yet. So we had it all torn apart because they were just junk anyways. So I'm probably gonna have to put new ones back into it just to get to be driving. And then I guess if I paint, I'll pull them out again or something, but probably won't be painted for a little bit here anyways. So yeah, I don't know. It's felt like I made pretty decent progress finally. So the transmission mount, wasn't super happy with that. Felt like it was almost like cross-threaded going in. Just didn't feel the best, but it did tighten up, and I don't know. It really needed to be probably tapped and rethreaded or whatever, but I want to make sure this transmission's even working first. It seemed tight enough that it would probably be fine, but where else are we at there? That's pretty much it, I think. So appreciate you guys watching again. Make sure you guys like, subscribe, share me around on social media, TK's Garage 405 on Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Thanks for watching again.